Tanshikiwa. Hello, how are you all? Welcome to Homelands, special edition for February Indigenous Storytelling Month. And you're here with Auntie Andy and Randy Morin, who's doing part two of his storytelling, and he's going to tell us some real good traditional tales here. Randy's from Big River First Nations. He's a storyteller, he's a language keeper, he's a moose hunter, and he's all kinds of good things. And so we thank him for bringing that good energy to the radio on CFCR 90.5 FM, Homelands of the Métis and Treaty 6 territories. So, with that, go ahead, Randy, and take it away. And if you want to introduce yourself anymore, go ahead. But yeah, with that, hi, hi.
Well, hi, name is, thank you, sister. Randy Morin at the Sihasun. I come from the Big River First Nation. Again, it's an honor to share some stories with you all. I'll try to tell you two stories as fast as I can. Okay, so the first story, my grandma used to tell me this story, and it's called in Cree, it's Watu Awasis, but in English, roughly translated, it's like the hide scraping child. Watu Awasis, the hide scraping. Okay, so here we go. So a long time ago, in his village, there was an old grandmother, an old kukum. Okay, and she lived alone, and the Creator took great pity on her because so you know there were lean times in this tribe, and so like food was kind of hard to come by, and you know what I mean, like people were kind of struggling, and of course she was struggling herself, and so what she would do, she would go to where the old ladies were scraping their moose hides or buffalo hides, and she would gather up those scrapings and then she would eat them. Well, one day it happened where she goes there and there's a little baby boy, okay? Kind of you know, a little baby boy, and so she's just like, "Whoa." And so she takes this little boy and she goes around the village and she's asking, the women, whose baby is this? Nobody claimed the baby. Nobody claimed the baby. Okay. So anyway, um, so she decides to raise the baby herself. She's an old cookum, she's a grandmother. So she's raising this boy, and she notices that this boy is different. She notices that this boy is very special. Like he's just kind of growing up, fast. Like he's a fast learner, very special boy, like, but also not that good looking. This boy wasn't very good looking, a little bit ugly, you know, kind of a runt almost, And so this boy grows up and is becomes actually a pretty good hunter, hunting for the kukum, and the community accepts this boy, but he's kind of a really interesting boy. See, he came out of nowhere. No, nobody claimed him. Kind of a runt. Okay. So he's kind of an outsider, almost an outsider, like he just people tolerated this boy just because like he was growing up so fast. And, like he just had these special powers, like he just knew stuff. Like he was very special, like he was very intuitive, you know. And he took a liking to the chief's daughter. He took a liking to the chief's daughter, okay? And the chief's daughter wanted nothing to do with him, didn't find him attractive or anything. And well, he really liked her, and so he would follow her down to the river, because in the morning this chief's daughter would go down there and she'd go use the washroom and wash up and everything, and then and then she'd go back up to the village. Well, what happened was, uh, where she would relieve herself, like urinate, he would urinate there too. And divine intervention happened. She got pregnant. She realized, like, what is going on? And her family is like, what? You're pregnant? Like it was kind of really taboo, to be pregnant, like, and you know what I mean, without a husband, right? And she swore, she's like, no, I never, nobody, I don't have a boyfriend. Okay. So the chief called all the young men together after she was after she had the baby. Okay, like she had the baby, and then the chief gathered all the young men together, and then he said, "I'm gonna pass this baby, and whoever this baby urinates on is the father." Okay, all right, so they pass the baby around, and all these young men are holding it, and passing it, and so it made one full rotation. The baby didn't urinate on anybody. So the chief's like, "Are all the men here?" And so, no, no, there's one young man not here, and that's the Watu Awasis, the hide scraping boy, eh? Like that was kind of his name, eh? Well, go get him, So they got him. So they stood him there. And so they passed that little baby, and right as soon as the baby got him, the baby peed on him. Okay. And so it was just like, whoa. So everyone was kind of shocked. Even the chief's daughter was shocked. But they insisted the baby go around one more time, just in case there's a mistake, Well, the baby ran around, and as soon as again the hide scraping boy held that little baby, that baby peed on him. Okay. This really brought shame, to the chief and his wife, and so he declared that they move camp. They move camp and pretty much disowned his daughter. You lied to me. Like, how could you, with this really weird boy here, this, special boy, and the chief's daughter, like, was adamant, it's not my baby, like, but nobody believed her. So they tore down the village and they moved away, leaving the Kukum with the chief's daughter and hide scraping boy and that little baby, okay? Just in one teepee. So so you know, the hide scraping boy told his grandma, can you build me a sweat lodge? Build a sweat lodge, and make a fire with rocks, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do a ceremony. But before I do nuhkum, nuhkum, what does a good-looking man look in your eyes? Like a good-looking man. How does this good-looking man look? And the old Cookum's like, well, a good-looking man should, be tall, you know, all these, brown eyes and hair, long black hair, brown skin, like really like a good teeth, like just describing like a really good-looking warrior, like basically, kind of like me. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, he goes into the sweat lodge, and the grandma's outside, and that sweat lodge, he starts singing his drum, and the grandmother notices his voice is changing, like it's becoming like a deeper voice, you know. So after he's done four songs, he tells his grandma, "No come, open the door." And who comes out is not the boy that went in. It's exactly who the grandma, is a good-looking man, describes, And she's just shocked and she's like, "Who are you?" It's me. It's me. I've transformed into like a handsome young man. Okay. And so so he what Dua was is he goes to the TPA and to the chief's daughter. But she didn't see him. He's like, "Excuse me, it's me." She's like, "I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. You ruined my life." And he's like, "Just look at me." And she go, "I don't want to look at you, but just open your eyes and look." And she looks and she's like, ooh la la. Who are you?" "It's me. I did a ceremony. If you don't think I'm good looking, well, I did a ceremony, and now I'm good looking, right? And I'm a warrior, so yeah, they were happy, he's a mighty hunter, like they lived there in just paradise, like I mean, just it's just the grandmother, raising their, that boy, that little baby boy. And finally that what Duwas is, he tells his grandmother, "Grandmother, I need you to make a lot of pemmican, we call it kahke wage. Kahke wage is dry meat, And he's like, our people that left us are suffering. I have to go get them. Where they are is a lot of disease and it's a lot of, there's not much food there. They're starving, you know. So grandmother makes him pemmican and he takes it, and he leaves. He walks, after many days, many weeks, he catches up to the tribe that left him, and it's you could tell that it was a hard winter, because the teepees were really rough, horses were like there weren't that many horses, right? They were starving, they were eating their horses, and so he walks up to into the village, into the chief and his wife's teepee, and he goes and calls their name, and they're like, "Come in, Bitagwe." He goes in there and he's bringing that kakiwaga and he pulls it in, and they're just starving, right? They just have no food. The boy, they're just eating in. They're just so like ravenous, and they who are you? And he's like, "It's me, hide scraping boy. You left, what? How come you look so different, He's like, never mind that, like let's go back. There's a lot of buffalo where where our village was, come back. Well, they pack up and they go back, they go back. When they get there, the hide scraping boy tells the chief, tell the people to build a buffalo pound, okay? And what's going to happen is there's going to be a young bull buffalo that's going to be leading the herd. And that young buffalo is gonna run into this pound and jump and leave. You let that young buffalo go. Don't shoot it. Okay? It's like, okay. So they build a buffalo pound, and all of a sudden, yeah, then they hear the rumbling, over the hill comes a herd of buffalo, and in front is a young buffalo, young young male buffalo, young one. The herd's following it. So they run into the buffalo pound and they shut the gate and they let that young buffalo go. They open it and it runs away. Okay. They shut it. Then they proceed to kill the buffalo in there. It's like so that yeah, the village was saved. Okay. And out of nowhere, this young hide scraping boy comes and so everything's happy again, right? Okay. They're eating, and then so, but food's running out. Food's running out, right? And so again, hide scraping boy tells the chief, we gotta build a buffalo pound, same thing's gonna happen. Whatever you do, do not shoot that young male buffalo. Okay. So again, over the hill comes a buffalo herd, small herd being led by a young buffalo. And again, they open a gate to the buffalo pound, and in goes the herd, okay? And then but one brave did not listen. Not supposed to shoot that young, the lead buffalo. Well, that young warrior shoots little that young buffalo and hits it, and that young buffalo, proceeds to jump the pound and run away, right? And so, after they, killed and butchered all the buffalo, you know, they noticed like, hey, where's Hide Scraping Boy? We haven't seen him in a long time, right? And so, his wife, Hide Scraping Boy's wife, like is like he didn't come home, right? So like he didn't come home all day and all night. And so she tells the grandma to watch their baby. She's gonna go look for this hide scraping boy. So she starts walking east. No, 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 west. She starts walking west. Okay. And there's a teepee there, one lone teepee. Okay. And she goes in a teepee and there's an old kukum in there. That old kukum tells her, I know you are here looking for your husband. He is not a human being, but if you're gonna look for him, I'm gonna give you this squirrel fur. This squirrel fur will help you in your journey. So go that way, and you're gonna go to another teepee. In there, you'll get more instructions. Okay, so she leaves, walks west. And there's another TP. There's another old cookum in there who tells her, "Your husband is not a human being, but if you're going to look for him, here's woodpecker feather. This woodpecker feather will help you." So and she keeps going, and again another TP, and there's another old cookum, and this old cookum's like, "I know you're here, but he's not a human being. Here is moose hoofs, okay, moose bones or something." And away she went. Well, the fourth teepee, okay, another kukum. She's like, here is a eagle feather plume. Okay, this is gonna help you. Okay, she's walking. And then she gets to the tree. There's a tree that extends straight up into the sky. A tree, a big tree. She knows she has to climb the tree. So she doesn't know how to climb, but then she's got all these gifts. And guess what? The first one is the squirrel. Well, she shapeshifts and becomes a squirrel. Okay, I know it's but this is like an old Cree story, okay? All told in Cree, okay? It's really powerful. So she runs up, okay? And the power, you know, can only last so long, right? Her transformation can only last only a certain amount of time. Okay. And the next one is the woodpecker feather. So as soon as she's done, with that power of being a squirrel, she turns into a woodpecker. She starts running up the tree. Okay. And again, that power runs out. Okay. The next one is the moose bones. Okay. So now she's actually turns into a human and is like using these bones to climb up this tree. Okay. And the last one is that eagle plume. So she becomes an eagle plume and she floats up the tree, okay? And just as that power is gonna run out, she falls into this misty world, like cloudy, and she could just hear thunder, just rumbling thunder all the time, thunder, eh? And she hears singing. And so she's following the singing, and there's a teepee in there. And then she goes inside the teepee and she sees her husband. Her husband's lying there with this arrow, eh? And there's these old grandfathers surrounding him, eh? And so she's there and she tells him, I'm here to bring him home, and those old mushrooms, they tell her, well, you can't, you know, pull this from him. So she pulls that arrow, okay, and that young hide scraping boy man, he tells her, "Look, Creator told me, Creator sent me to grandma, you know, in compassion to go and help, our people. So now I must return back to where I come from. But I'll take you back to your world, okay?" And so he tells her to close her eyes, okay? So she closes her eyes and she feels this mighty presence, really like just mighty, mighty presence is the energy, And then she feels herself, uh, you know, being lifted and flying through the air. She could feel the wind in her face, and she could feel the thunder. And she could just see flashes of light everywhere. And she's just like, what is going on? And then she lands in the earth, okay? And she's at the outskirts of her village. And the people come running to her. They come running to her, and and she, she looks and she hears that thunder. And when she looks behind her, she sees this cloud just moving away, this cloud. And in there, she could just see the silhouette of a mighty bird. Okay. And this bird, whenever it blink his eyes, the lightning would, and with the flap of his, thunder. Okay. So she goes back to her teepee and her, that grandma's there. And grandma, did you find him? Yes. Yes, I found him. He is not a human. He is the Thunderbird. And he came down to help our people, and gave us many teachings and many stories. And, so to this day, the Thunderbird is now a very, very powerful, helper of the Creator, brings water, brings life. And we have Thunderbird songs, and we have Thunderbird in our ceremonies, so Thunderbird's very real grandfather. But that's a story my 107-year-old grandma would tell me. And you know what? She was on her, I would say a couple of weeks before she passed away, she told me that story. I recorded it on my cell phone, and I still have her telling that story. She's 107 in an old folks' home. She still had her mind. And she told us that was the probably last time she told that story. And she passed away like a few weeks later. So it's a pretty powerful story. And in Cree, it's called Watuawasis, or hide scraping boy. So yeah, that's a traditional story from my grandma. Thank you.
Hi, hi, Randy. Oh, wow. That was amazing. I loved that. And it's perfect for Indigenous Storytelling Month, which February is. And thank you so much for coming this week and last week. And everybody can catch this if you just tuned in. You're on CFCR 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, cfcr.ca. You can listen to it anywhere. And this is Homelands, and it will be broadcast on our YouTube channel as well. And you can find us on Facebook at Homelands Saskatoon SK, and you'll see a little picture of the Church of Batoche. Um, we do Indigenous storytelling, interviews, all kinds of things. You can reach us at métishomelands@gmail.ca. And yeah, with that, thank you so much, Randy. We've had Randy Morin giving us storytelling this week and last. And he's from Big River First Nation, and he's coming to us live from a little trip he was taking there with his son, and he made time for us. So thank you. Thank you also to Don Cosick, who made time for us with making the links. He dedicated some time so that we could do some storytelling. So big thank you to Dawn, and thanks to Jay at CFCR. And our next episode will be March 6th, Saturday, when we go to our new time slot, 10 a.m. Saturday, every second Saturday, 1 hour of programming. So our next guest will be Kevin Wessaquate, who will be sharing the story of Mistassini. And it's an amazing story. I'm sure Randy knows that story as well. And Kevin tells it over almost the course of an entire hour. It's the most epic telling I've heard. It's a great Saskatchewan tale. Um, and he's also a great storyteller too. So hi, Randy. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for everything.
Have a good trip.
Yes, thank you.
Travel well. That's
Okay.
CFCR, and thank you. And this has been Homelands.